Okay, so I'm going to start off with the very general question for Mr. Mogobe. What impact can you say your experience with studying in multiple countries around the world, places like the United States as well as South Africa, has helped your perspective as an entrepreneur? And how deeply can you emphasize the importance of exposing yourself to other places around the world?
It's very, very important for us to broaden our horizons and for us to expose ourselves to different areas and backgrounds and places. I believe that I'm what I am because of the exposure that I got from the Kettle Post, from the city, from Edinburgh, Scotland, from Massachusetts in the United States, as well as from Washington, D.C. in the US, and all these other places I've traveled. I have a system where I used to take a whole month off in every given year so that I can travel and explore. And when I travel and explore, it's not just, yes, monate important. Those of you who follow me will know I spent December in the island of Zanzibar and part of the time in mainland Tanzania, going from the likes of Dodoma, Dar es Salaam, Moshi, going to even Mount Kilimanjaro, checking it out, although I didn't go all the way up. But my point is that it broadens your horizons, it broadens your scope, and I think that it helps you see best practices and ways of doing things in other parts of the world. So it has impacted positively my career.
Right, fantastic, fantastic. I have one more question for you before I move on to the next speaker. Leading a team and stewarding a business of this magnitude has definitely had its ups and downs financially, right? Off the top of your head, what financial challenges can you say your company has went through, and what have you done to ensure the business still stands? I think this can be taken as advice for any person starting a business or anyone who's learning how to maneuver the challenges that come with running a business.
Well, do we have all day? I don't know. The thing is that challenges, setbacks, and occasionally a cataclysmic event are part of the package. You should expect that they will take place. Most experts will tell you that you need to have at least 6 months of payroll to 12 months of payroll set aside in case a cataclysm comes through. And we have applied some of those tactics. You need to ensure that you have other emergency covering strategies like insurance in place in case things go south, aka in case we have COVID. Yeah. Some people will tell you that COVID has been both a blessing and a crisis for them. And you'll find that in life in general, every setback, every challenge, inside every setback, there's an equivalent promise of success, or inside every piece of adversity, as we are told by Mr. Napoleon Hill, there's inside the equivalence in terms of an opportunity. So I've learned to constantly say, okay, we have a problem here, but maybe there's a good problem to have. Let's see what good is in this problem. Let's check it out. So in terms of naming the problems, you are better off just buying my book, but we've had crisis after crisis. In fact, you wonder sometimes when a whole month passes by without challenges. You ask yourself, are you living? There's a joke that is being told by a guy who was asking, now I'm tired of problems. He was asking a multimillionaire, successful businessman, and the businessman says, oh, you're tired of your problems? Yes. You're fed up with your problems? Yes. You've had it up to here with your problems? Yes. Okay, let me take you to a place where people do not have problems. And he was driving around town, just going out. Then eventually, they go to a place similar to Pomolong, Pakalan. Okay, this is a place where there are no problems here. These people have no problem. You want to join them? And then, of course, it changed perspective. Or no, the fact that you have challenges is an indication that you are engaged in the world, you are trying to make a difference in your life. Challenges are an indication that So keep soldiering on.
Round of applause from the audience, please. Okay, this one also will go to Mogobe.
Again?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Mogobe, we know most of the income, yeah, the business, it's all from the real estate side. So, ne ke re ke botsa hore, how do you see real estate, or many people see real estate as a slow but steady way to build wealth? We all know that it's slow, but you can reap some benefits after some time. When I remove, how do you fast track success in real estate investing?
Well, I think people need to join our mentorship program because we go granular there. But if I'm not being granular, I'm being superficial in terms of trying to just cover it. Yes, real estate is a best storer of wealth that man has ever created. The thing is that it gives you outcomes in multiple areas. I call it a gift that keeps on giving. Whether you're talking about appreciation, whether you're talking about mortgage pay down, whether you're talking about rental payment, whether you talk about tax benefit, it's a gift that keeps on giving. Yes, it constitutes arguably about 70% of our income as a group, and it's continuing to grow in that area because we are constantly acquiring. So I've come to respect real estate as a source of income generating source, and I believe that everybody who's engaged in real estate will acknowledge this. If you notice, billionaires and multi-billionaires either make their money in real estate or preserve their money or their income or their earnings or their wealth in real estate. So it's good in terms of wealth preservation. So I hope I've answered your question, because to go into greater detail, I think I'll need to mentor you, sir. And I've done so twice. So, because quite often people want superficial, fast knowledge, instant gratification. So I'm a big advocate for delayed and gradual gratification. And that's what real estate does, because it forces you to save, because you have to come up with a substantial deposit to get an asset. And it also forces you to be careful in your spending, because if you are careless and you miss 2 or 3 payments to the bank, before you know it, you are in the matter between. So it can actually help you to develop discipline as well. So, ke a e rata real estate, sir. Ke a e rata, I believe most people really appreciate it. If you appreciate real estate, itanka le gofi ho bagaetso.
Ra leboga re Mogobe. La utlwa ke re gore go nna le lefoko le le boelang gantsi ke so le Ratshosa ona la mala saving. Even if you want to start your first investment, more real estate, you have to have a down payment that you can always present to the bank so that they can help you to start your first investment. So with that all said, ra tlhaloganya rotlhe yaanong gore ga o ka nna le sepe o ise wena o ipeele sepe. Thank you.
All right, can we give a round of applause as well? Okay, my next question will be for Mr. Ratshosa. Networking, I'd like to propose, is your middle name, right? How important can you say it is for one to step out of that comfort zone and build profitable networks in fields they want to grow in, such as entrepreneurship? And what 2 tips can you give to someone who perhaps hasn't made networking their main goal or main aim when attending such events?
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I think personally, I grew up a bit shy, so networking was a bit of a challenge. But I did see those who were very good at engaging with others, leveraging other people's skills at school. You can imagine as a child, if you are not good at maths, there's someone who's very good at maths, same school. You just need to engage with that person and then your marks start improving immediately. So it starts there. It's not a thing of now that you are in business, you need to start to network. It needs to be a lifestyle. You want to improve your spirituality, you need to be a lot closer to pastors and prophets, then your spirituality will get to the next level, right? So it's the same thing with business. And the good thing nowadays is that we do have social media. Social media helps us to engage in the quickest way possible. And sometimes you don't even need to be an extrovert or anything like that, right? You just need to be good at what you do. People will engage with you. People want to link up, right? So don't turn down those opportunities. Engage with people, get to understand what other people are doing. Right now we have relationships in South Africa with people that we have never met. We just engage on social media. Now we are doing work with them. We have engagements, other people in Lesotho that we work with in our business that are actually on our payroll, but we've never met them, but they are doing work for us. So networking is key. For engagements like this one, you come out of here without a couple of numbers from people who came here with the same interest. You would have wasted your money. Right, you get a couple of numbers. Tomorrow you are setting up a business with someone here. So for me, I think networking is key. But don't just network to get from people. Provide value to people, and a lot of people will want you closer to them. That's how it really works. At least for me, I don't want a situation where I'm just getting. What value am I giving to those people?
Lerumo. Ratshosa, earlier on good lo bua ka wealth building in your presentation. Mokwadi o motona wa dibuka re Robert Kiyosaki ona bua ka the importance of mindset in wealth building. So what mindset shifts are necessary to succeed in business hela? When now le Ratshosa what kind of shifts mindset?
I think for me, what I have found to be very important, because I have tried a couple of businesses before, businesses that I thought were good businesses because I had analyzed the market. I had a bit of experience working with some people who were in those industries. So I thought it would work for me. I realized later that maybe for me, it was not the right time to be engaging in a business as a concept, right? For me, it was the right time to start leveraging my skill and making it a business, right? So that I can then understand the ways of a business. You see, once you understand the ways of a business, and I think Mr. Mdaka spoke about it earlier, it's a system. You can succeed in any type of business, right? But if you are just starting out and you haven't learned the right disciplines of how to handle money when money comes into the business, right? Should you reinvest the money? Should you buy yourself a flashy car? Should you move to the next neighborhood where now people can say, Mr. Ratshosa stays Kostoa, he has made it in life, right? Is that what you are supposed to be doing, right? Until you have learned the discipline of how that system works, I would say that try and see if you can leverage any skill, right? I think that is the easiest thing, because with your skill, nobody forces you to want to do anything, and you don't need to hire anyone. But if you are now running a business as a system, sometimes you need to get people to run that system. You can have a business that you don't have expertise in. You have just studied the numbers and it makes sense. And then you are like, let me engage a chartered financial analyst, let me engage someone who has done business development. I put them there, I fund the business, and then they run with it. I know how the system is supposed to be working, right? I think for me, if you are just starting out, you don't understand the system as yet, try to see if you have a skill that you can actually leverage.
Thank you so much, Ratshosa. Actually, to further take that point home, once one person has learnt the skill, refined the skill, perfected, close to perfected the skill, what is the tip that you can give to them to ensure longevity in that field?
Okay, let me speak of myself. So if you look at the businesses that I run, all of them are in the, we can say education, right? Initially we were doing insurance, but you can't sell insurance until people are educated, right? So you have to educate them first. So as we were educating, we realized that no, but people are not paying us for the education. We only get paid when now they have bought a product, we are getting commission. So we then set up a training business, right? So we'll train, we'll get the money from training, and then we'll sell products, and then we'll also get commission from that. And then as time went on, we realized that what we were teaching people was so powerful that people were saying, why don't you just record the stuff, put it out there, right? And then we started now recording our content, we put it out there, and then we start now monetizing on the other side. But money easily comes when people feel like there's some value they can extract from you. I can't tell you how many businesses we've knocked on their doors before, and they have rejected us a long time ago, right? Nowadays, we don't even knock on doors. We get calls every day, and then we choose which businesses we are going to work with because we have put value out there. So when they call you, even when they send a request to code, they don't really want to see your company profile and stuff like that. They don't need that proof. They already know. They just want the price. That is it. Because you don't need a reference. I mean, if anybody says, can you give me your reference of the work that you have done, I just give them a link to my social media. And then they will go there, they will check on the comments to see what the people are saying. That is the reference. Yeah.
Fantastic. Could we give him a round of applause, please? All right, so one more question. And then we move on to our next speaker. You mentioned how you started posting about your work and ensuring that it gets out there. How can you, because I've realized also the importance of social media. There are so many businesses that have so much potential, but they are not putting themselves out there in a marketable way or in a way that is easily consumable to the people. What advice could you give to someone who's struggling with that?
Look, you need to respect your clients, right? It's very important. So the moment you think of the type of content to put out there, remember that on social media, it's called social media, for a reason, right? It's a social platform, right? So when you put a business in a social platform, individuals don't connect very well with corporates, right? We used to call corporates a cold body. When I was still in corporate. And then an individual is a warm body, right? People connect well with an individual than with a corporate. If you look at the social media following of big corporates and they sponsor their posts, we don't, right? They sponsor their posts to get their content out there. You would find that maybe they have, those who are doing really well, you'll find maybe they're on the hundreds of thousands of followers, but every post that they make, they get like 10, 12, 20 reactions. People don't connect in that way. But as an individual, you can provide proper value which is linked to the product that you are selling, right? You can't be doing finance the way I'm doing finance, and then every time when I post, you see me, I'm holding a bottle of Hennessy, I'm out there in the clubs. I can't do that because it's not relevant to the content that I'm trying to give people. Right? So you need to respect your clients, understand exactly what it is that you want to change in them, and then keep on improving in that. And yeah, we can start, we normally start with, if you look at my content, my first video, I think I was using my phone. There used to be a lot of, hissing sound in the background, and there was a guy who would call me and say, hey, bruh, the content is good, but the background sound, can you improve on that, right? We kept on improving. I think the first podcast equipment that we bought, it was $300. It was 2 mics. Imagine 2 mics. for 300 bucks, 2 mics and a voice recorder. We bought that and we ran with it for some time. And the first big contract that we got from a corporate, we were using those mics, right? It was the content they were interested in. But as the money comes in, you need to be improving on your content. You need to be improving on the videos, if you are doing videos, or improve on your writing. If you are doing writing, you just need to improve, because the people that are following you today, they are improving. And the reason why people fall short in future is because now the people that they were influencing have outgrown them. They move to other platforms, they move to other content creators. So you need to make sure that you are constantly improving on your content.
That's actually very important, because Hansi, when our content starts doing very well and we're getting brand deals and stuff like that, you spoke about it, I blew it. Next thing, instead of buying new mics and new camera equipment, we are already blowing the money and then we have nothing to show for it at the end. So I think that's a beautiful point. If we could just give him a round of applause. All right, so now I'm going to move on to our third speaker, Ms. Mdaka. Your core philosophy is that systems don't build businesses, people do. In your learned opinion, what do you think is the main reason why people don't value personal development more than they would valuing maybe advancing their careers?
Dumelang happy. Very good question. So, why do people not value personal development? I mean, it's a very vast question, because remember, when you talk about the journey of success, it's going to mean different things to different people. And the people that value personal development is people that want to see themselves getting to a certain level. Personal development is more of a vehicle that they use. Every single thing we are doing, we do it in a form of a vehicle, right? Education is a vehicle. It's taking you from one point to another. If you attend a seminar, you attend it because it's an education vehicle that propels you to the next level. So I think it's based on the mindset of what people see personal development as. You know, especially Africans, we are conditioned to believe that the best way to have success is to go through the traditional means of learning stuff. So personal development requires you then to do stuff that even in university are not done. A lot of the things we do here and say here, they are not taught in the class. You know, if you go to school, a professor will not teach you what we are teaching you here, right? So it's a non-conventional way of doing things. But it doesn't necessarily mean education is not important, because it too is a tool and a vehicle. So the question is, you can have a vehicle that's like do you know what an Uno is? You can have an Uno, it gets you to a certain point. And then you must upgrade your vehicle to the next vehicle, which then will take you to another place, but maybe in better comfort. And then another one will take you to another place, but quicker and faster. And another one will take you there. Someone will be driving you, you are sitting at the back. You are doing the same thing, but it's different kinds of vehicles taking you there. And depending on the kind of vehicle you used, you go there as a wealthy person or as a normal person. Because the guy could be driving Uber, what's this, Uno? And another guy is being driven in an S-Class. Or another guy is driving a BMW. All of those people are going to the same place. The difference is the vehicle that they are using. So it all depends on how you see personal development.
Okay, Lehofi. Ramdak.
Say.
Earlier on Obuaka or Lehoneana Kutlonso Ubuaka, you know, the faster way to get information or no we have something called AI. We all know about it. Influencer young the business decisions and in the next 5 years. How is it going to affect businesses? How is it going to affect human resources according to your understanding? really below learn personal development, really part of whatever that people are looking for. But we still have now what you call AI, which is now taking away the system whereby we know or we can take a book in a bookshop, read to develop ourselves. Now we run to it and get information from that. How is it going to affect businesses in the next 5 years?
It's a very good question, and AI is not for stupid people. And let me tell you what I mean. You ask stupid questions, you get stupid answers. That's how AI is. AI is not gonna all of a sudden make a stupid guy intelligent. So what do I mean by that? How is it replacing jobs? In the past, I can write a WhatsApp message to my assistant. Please message Mr. So-and-so and tell him I want 1, 2, 3. Or email him, right? She'll sit and draft an entire email. Maybe that email will take an hour. That same email, I can write it in 3 seconds using AI. Instead of sending the message to my assistant, I'll take the same message, put it on an AI system, write the message to Mr. So-and-so, tell him this is what I'm looking for, and this is how I want it to be done. 5 seconds, I've got the email, copy and paste. Or even some AI tools allows you to set it up in such a way that it goes onto your email, send it to him, right? So if I had an assistant that is not able to use AI, and I'm able to use AI, I don't need the assistant. But AI is not going to have emotional intelligence for me. AI is not going to call the client when the client, a product has not been delivered. AI is not going to set up those meetings on a one-on-one basis and call. You know, one of the best ways, I hear people say AI can replace people. AI cannot replace people who are emotionally intelligent. Because AI does not feel and think like you, does not understand human interactions like you. You understand? So the question is, as you are an individual that's running a business, how are you using AI as a tool? And but Baba Khulu, maybe you might be thinking, what's this AI? It's just an app. You just ask it to do something and it does it. That's what it is. On other platforms, like if you're building technology, obviously AI gives you more insight. I'll give you an example. You said in the past you'd have to read a book, right? To get certain information. Now, to develop a proper business concept, I come with my concept. I say to AI, this is the information that I have about this market. Develop a comprehensive business plan for Botswana. And AI will set up an entire business plan for Botswana. But if I'm lazy to read, I won't read the business plan, you see? So I'm still the guy who doesn't know. Because it's not like AI will take that information and entrench it in my brain. Even if it gives me the info, I still have to sit down and read it. When I come here, I must know what I'm talking about.
Okay, Mr. Mdaka. Lekgofi gape. Just adding on what you are saying, Mr. Mdaka, what you are saying is AI, as much as it is an artificial intelligence, it still need a smart person to prompt it to do what is right. You don't just put anything, it will give you whatever that. So basically it needs someone who's smart to use it. Is that what you are saying?
Let me ask you a question, right? Mr. Mogobe has been in business for 37 years. He's an attorney, right? And let's say I become an attorney in 4 years, right? But I'm smart. Maybe I might beat him because I'm very smart, you see? But let's say I was starting out and I need to compete with him as an attorney, right? I'm competing with a guy that has got 37 years experience, one. No matter how many AI tools I have, the stuff he knows, I don't know, right? So even he has access to the same AI. Do you get my point? Even he can get the same AI. Ask it like somebody who's been in law for 37 years. It will respond differently to him because he's asking in-depth questions. And then for me, with my 4-year degree and 1-year experience, no matter how smart I am, I might even be smarter than him. Do you get my point? But the stuff he knows that I don't know. Do you understand what I mean? So if you're gonna rely on AI to do stuff for you, you're in trouble. Those are the kind of people AI is going to replace. But AI won't replace him. It can't. Because the market, okay, I'm arriving. I'm a new attorney. He's an attorney. The law fraternity look at it as it is. You need an attorney. You desperately need an attorney. You know that I'm good at AI. You know Witness is good at AI. Are you really going to go for me because I'm good at AI? In your thinking, you're going to want a lawyer that's dependable, that's smart, that knows what he's doing, that knows the corners for 37 years. So for us and for all of us, right, the question will always be, how are you channeling AI to improve on what you already know? Like it's a thing of it's the cart that goes before the horse and vice versa, right? The horse will always pull the cart, right? If the intelligence I have is not leading me, AI intelligence, it's like when a guy writes a WhatsApp message and it's AI, I can pick it up. I know Sbusiso or Tabang does not think like this. I already know, my man, even your English is broken when we talk. So this is not you. We know that. You can tell when something is like, this AI written message. And even your girlfriend can see, by the way, if it's AI written. How is this guy romantic? Where is the romance coming from? So, as human beings, we are not stupid. We know, man, I've known you for 5 years. You don't write like that. But if a guy is good and he writes like that, if he uses AI, you won't suspect. Because you're expecting him as an attorney to write that language. So use it in your advantage like that. I don't know if I've answered you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mdaka. One more question for Mr. Mogobe. How easy or more challenging can you say it has been trying to build a business while also trying to build a business from the ground up while also being a family man with other responsibilities such as being a father?
My answer will be surprise some. Being a family person or being involved in family makes it easier to run a business. Let me explain how. Once you've been around cultures that say to you and teach you and you accept that money is not taboo, once you internalize that money and business is not a taboo subject, it is a subject that can be discussed during breakfast. It is a subject that can be discussed on your way to church, from church, in church, wherever you are. And you have business members who have, you have family members who have similar inclinations. Because of the fact that you are able to impact them and influence them and maybe guide them and influence them to read certain books, their mindset will be such that they become business-minded. So you have almost on a 24/7 basis an accountability partner, accountability partners that you can bounce ideas off. I have the advantage where I can hold a boardroom meeting right inside my bedroom. And that boardroom meeting will be minuted and it will be executed and will come up with ideas the same way as if it were held in the kitchen, the same way as if it were held in the boardroom. So I would say that it's an immense advantage if you can become the type of business person or the entrepreneur who takes your children along to meetings. I did that in the early days. I take them to meetings. Of course, there's a lot of kicking and screaming. Of course, there's resistance. Of course, you are painted as a terrible dad in the beginning. But as times go, in the goodness of time, you see yourself reflected in those children, in the way they behave because of that. So I would say to you that it does help. It is a bonus to have a business and to connect with your family. I had my wife working as my accountant in the law firm. When she finished or she stopped being my accountant, she opened a business. And I see that one of my children has started a business. Otlaka works in the business, is interested in starting his own business as part of the bigger business. So I would say, if I understood your question correctly, it is a bonus, and we should now, we should collectively, those of us who are here, I would urge you to resolve to be more open about your business affairs, to involve your business, your children. I see that witness and give passes with flying colors, because he even posts with his child, and they're always discussing business matters, including the question of whether or not he's wearing the right suit. That is often discussed in the car. So I would say that we should make it part, like other cultures. The Jewish culture definitely, the Indian culture definitely, for the longest time, they bring the children and the family into the business. The two are inextricably tied and intertwined.
Legofi. Mogobe. Rotlhe ra itse gore ga gona sepe se se tsamayang borontshololo fela, rotlhe re nna re na le di-challenge mo sengwe le sengwe se re se dirang. Yaanong nne ke batla go tlhaloganya gore the common mistakes that a first time investor, more especially, I'll just say in real estate, because that's the core business that you are doing. Or what are the common mistakes that you found yourself and how did you avoid them? You also involve your family, your wife, your children, take them to meetings. But ke solo fela re gona le diphoso dingwe le tsone tse e leng gore gongwe o ka di share le rona, tse e leng gore di tla re ruta gore ha re batla go tswella re ya godimo re di hapoge kgotsa nka re di pitfalls nyana tse re kopana le tsone, o ka re thusa gore re di avoid.
Common pitfalls for startups, is that what you're asking? One of the main ones, I think, is to focus on the money in terms of focusing on, instead of focusing on the service and the impact. There's a tendency to focus on the money more than the service or the problem that you are trying to solve. We at Angel Network Botswana, we have a 10-point system which I've also crafted in terms of guiding a young investor how to pitch. And one of the things that we emphasize for them is that, look, if you're going to pitch, because remember that to succeed in their business, you have to sell it to somebody. Whether you are going to sell it to your banker, sell it to your partners, and sell it to the market, you have to pitch your business. So when you pitch, we say, look, be confident. That's the first thing. So in addition to maybe focusing on the money, there's a problem of now not having the confidence or the gumption or the conviction in what you're doing, and it comes across when you are delivering. And then there's also the failure sometimes to develop traction, where people expect funding or they expect the business to succeed before you develop some traction. And I'm a strong believer that when you are starting, you are better off bootstrapping that business. Bootstrapping means really going broke on the business, using your savings, cutting corners. If you have to borrow from your grandmother, because she won't sue you. I get it. So bootstrapping is one thing that I see a lot of businesses wanting to start. If you look at everything that I've started, even in the book I mentioned the fact that I started with 100 pula, which I deposited in an account at Barclays Mall. I keep talking about that because it's important. So those are some of the basic mistakes. And then the biggest one is the absence of tenacity, or a determined spirit, or resilience, or what I otherwise call grit, G-R-I-T, which means as an attitude of perseverance. If the business is good, if what you want to achieve is going to be impactful, and if you're really convicted about it, it's important that you should have grit. The reason that 90% of businesses fail, not just in Botswana but worldwide, even in America, is because sometimes business people or young startups give up when they're just on the cusp of victory. When they're just on the verge of attaining the target, people give up because they don't have that tenaciousness or that grit. If I had given up on the restaurant business when we were at Black, none of you would be here. We wouldn't have carried on and iterated and developed and improved on that business to the point where hey, so I mean, there's an endorsement from my son who's running the restaurant. So that never give up spirit, that tenaciousness, that bulldog attitude. There's a book that I read that the reason why a bulldog's nose is slanted back is that when it's grabbed onto whatever it has grabbed onto, it can still continue to breathe. So you need to have the attitude of a bulldog and have your nose slanted back so that when you grab something, you're still breathing, if you know what I mean. Thank you.
Legofi.
Fantastic, fantastic. So I have one more question for Ratshosa. Ratshosa, sorry. As a person of influence, how important is youth empowerment to you? That is, engaging the youth in topics that may not always come off as interesting, like managing finances well, or investing in the stock market or real estate or stuff like that. Topics that I, myself, a 19-year-old, may not always find as interesting.
Yeah, I think we have always gotten it wrong. It's not like young people are not interested in these topics. They just don't understand how they are being taught, or they don't speak to them, right? But they're very interested, because if you're going to be an investor, you can't start when you are 40. You start when you are young, right? And young people are the very same people that we know they want flashy cars, they want a good life at some point. So these are things that they really want to learn, right? You know, as we do tours around the country, we used to think that because most of our conferences and our seminars, you find a lot of mid-age and older people attending them, because we do retirement planning, you know, debt management, and you find that most young people are not there. That's mostly what we teach. But we've been shocked to find that we have a lot of following among the people whom we say are not interested in such topics, right? Just on Saturday, I think we were at a radio, UB radio station. They had invited us there. So as we were walking in, we passed a lot of these young people. Now, I follow your content, it just really changed my life, you know. Now my allowance, I'm using it like this. They are really interested. I think for most of us, we had made wealth creation to become a thing of older people, right? And the young people thought that they don't have a chance. They have to wait for them to have a certain amount of money from work and then maybe start buying land and stuff like that. But if we teach them when they're young, because they have energy, just look at young people maybe at varsity. You know the market at varsity, how huge it is. And you are going to graduate from varsity without having implemented any of the plans that you have, because you are waiting for until you start work, but you leave a market there. So I think it's very important for us to try and break down the complexities of finance, more especially, so that young people can better understand it. Because this is where it's important, right? If they understand, it becomes easier for the parents to be able to pass on their wealth to them. if they understand. And sometimes as a parent, we know how difficult it is to teach your own children. It's very difficult. Sometimes it's easier when they learn elsewhere and then they come to you asking questions. I heard about this. Have you done it? Right? Are you doing anything in those lines? So young people are interested. And I think for us, because our content cuts across, we don't necessarily need to create content that is specific to young people. It just cuts across. If you are earning money, 500 pula, 1,000 pula, it doesn't matter. If you don't understand savings, you don't understand savings. It doesn't matter how much money you are making, right? And then investing is the same thing, right? As well as insurance and giving and other things. Because everyone is doing it, right? So yeah, I think young people are very much interested. And we are doing our best also to reach out directly to them as we continue to create content that can change their lives.
One, two. And take a well when Ratshosa Yabuhelo Ubuaka banana hore le bone ba ithotloetse mo kganya go simolla go dira madi as young as possible. So ne ke batla go tlhaloganya what are some non-traditional financing methods that maybe investors or whoever want to invest can use, more especially ra itse gore ga o le monnye di banka di go gona go gana ka re wa bo senang o senang. So what are other or are some non-traditional methods or financing methods? Ra itse ke re tse di common ke tsone bo di loan, both secure and unsecure, jalo.
Yeah, so for young people who are, maybe, I think you're talking about young people who are interested in doing business. And I think we have spoken a lot about value, right? Investors, they fund value. So if a young person comes to any investor, puts across a proposal that makes absolute sense, that young person is going to be funded. When I was still working for one of the banks, at some point we were doing a project around creating an SME incubator. So we did the benchmarking in Cape Town. So Cape Town has got some structures for incubating SMEs. So during the day when we were there, it was graduation day for the cohort that was being taught for that period. And it was, they call it pitch day. So they were pitching their ideas to potential business people. There were big telecom guys were there, banks were there, chain stores were there. So it was surprising to see that the people who came to pitch and who were actually graduating from that cohort, some of them were coming as far as Uganda, coming as far as Tanzania, to go and pitch in Cape Town. And pitching for how much? With a brilliant business idea, pitching for 80,000 rands, 100,000 rands. I was looking at it, I was like, in Botswana how easy it is to get 100,000 bucks in Pula. Like, it's so easy. You just need to be young. And then you get an application, you put it across, and government gives you the 100,000, right? But it's only that they have never really understood the value of the money that needs to be raised from an investor. Investors are always looking for people to fund, right? Right now, I can tell you a number of people who are multimillionaires who have got money sitting. They're just waiting for a brilliant idea to come because they don't have fresh ideas anymore, right? And then there are other platforms. I know in the United States, they have, they're advanced when it comes to crowdfunding. And crowdfunding, we also have it here in Botswana. We have set up initiatives ourselves of crowdfunding, and we have seen how it works. Just put a group of people together. They put their monies together. We raise $1 million quick. right? We have done that, we have tested that, it's there. It's just a thing of young people having, because money is always around, guys. Money is always around. The money that I need is in your pocket. The one that you need is in my pocket or his pocket, right? You just need to extract that money, not through thuggery. You just need to give that person an idea. It first falls onto the brain, and then he will react by putting his hand in the pocket, giving you the money. So I always say to young people that, look, whenever you say the economy is dry of money, you are not doing proper research. Because the numbers are showing us that there is more money in the world right now than there was 50 years ago. So no one can convince me that there is not enough money. If you are struggling in your business, it's possibly because maybe the industry that you are in is struggling during that period. Or maybe that it's not innovating enough. But you move to another industry, you find that they are flush with cash and they don't know what to do with it. We just need to shift the mindset and say, ask ourselves, where is the money? Where am I providing value? How can I unlock that money? Because we are sitting with money, a lot of it.
Okay.
I just wanted to add, about A and B, when we set it up in 2020, it was specifically to provide alternative sources of funding. So, it was specifically to provide alternative sources of funding. You come to us, you have a brilliant idea. A, the idea is investable, and B, it's scalable, and especially if it's tech-enabled, we will fund you. I've put together a total of 40 entrepreneurs right here in Gaborone, guys who have money. I used to think I have money until I met these guys. They have money. I give a to make. And they're waiting to see where they can apply it. And all they're waiting for is for you to come forward with an investable idea. They normally typically take a minority stake, up to maybe 20% in your business, and they handhold you as you grow. I have businesses that I can think of, about 7 in number, off the top of my head, that we have really grown to super, to multi-million puller status since they started. So that is another form of alternative sources of funding that I wanted to remind you about, Mr. Khapi.
Thank you, Mogobe. Jano, re tla bulela dipotso from the audience on the floor. Le lona le skara di ra botsa re nnotse go gona le tse leng go rona re di lebetse kgotsa gongwe ga ra di gakologelo. So ne re kopa gore from the audience we can also the questions to the panelists.
They can come forward, right?
Yeah, they can come forward. One. Agona.
Dumelang, and thank you for the presentation and Lidi Karabo. I have a question for Mdaka le Mogobe. For property, between South Africa and Botswana and maybe Southern Africa, how do you find who did a business in one country or say a citizen of that country? Like if I want to invest in South African market, is it easy? It's easier to get Botswana versus cross the border. Thank you.
It's easy to invest in any country in the world as long as you set up the right investment structure within that country. I mean, there's a property he's supposed to buy from me. He's been crunching numbers for 2 years. Sorry? Yes. So perhaps he can answer that. But I mean, you can invest anywhere in the world as long as you've got the capacity to set up a vehicle in the form of a company or a trust in that country and be able to do business. Even with the company from your own country, get into another country as long as the legal structure is properly recognized. So you can invest anywhere. Investing is not as complicated as people make it sound. It's literally as easy as buying sweets. The only thing is, if you're going to set up anything legal, find an attorney to set it up for you. You don't have to do it yourself. Do you understand what I mean? If you need certain trade licenses within that country where you are going to be setting up, you need an attorney from that country who understands systems in that country to be able to assist you. So it boils down to that. If you want to buy property in South Africa, as long as you've got the money to buy it, because that's the important thing. The important thing is the money. As long as you've got the money and you've got somebody assisting you setting up the legal structure, you'll be able to buy it. Is that correct?
120%. We do have attorneys that we use in South Africa with whom we have relationships. And we do have attorneys in South Africa using us. And whether it's conveyancing, whether it's trademark registration, copywriting, we can do everything across the border. You asked me why I haven't personally acquired in Mzansi. I haven't gotten around to doing it. Actually, I'll tell you a little story. Every time I want to go to Mzansi, another sweet deal lands on my lap at home. So that's the real reason. Sweet deals have been landing on my lap quite a bit, which I couldn't resist because knowing that home it's easier to check on the tenants, it's easier to manage. So, but it's a weakness on my part. He gave me a good deal. We couldn't agree. We're 1 million apart.
You wanted to short drop me 1 million.
I think we're $1 million apart.
We're negotiating.
We're friends, but we're negotiating hard.
Yeah.
But the negotiation is still ongoing.
Yes.
I think we will probably end up somewhere. But I think at some point you change the business to a B&B or to Airbnb.
Yeah.
So that kind of changed the dynamic.
So that becomes a little bit of education, right? For anyone. You can have a property running as a normal traditional property where you have a tenant living in it. And then if you find that property, you want to generate more money from it, you change the use of it. In this case, we changed it to Airbnb with my partner. So we basically set up another legal structure which operates Airbnb. So what that company does, it does rent to rent. It rents properties from several individuals, including our company, and operates those properties as Airbnb. So some of the units he was supposed to buy, or where we are negotiating the 1 million rand in, is that we set them up as Airbnb so that it can generate 7 times to 10 times more than what it's generating now. It's actually generating quite a lot. But remember, Airbnb also is it's time consuming because you have to look after the unit, you have to change the sheets, you have to run it as a business. It's not passive. Understand? So, yeah.
But you can hire someone to do all that, Mus.
Yes, which is what we have done. That's what I'm saying is, I don't want to make it sound like it's easy. Remember, here's one thing. If running a business was easy, everyone would do it. All of us here would be business people and managers. Even some entrepreneurs can't manage. I know a friend of mine will tell you, I don't want to manage a business. I want to start businesses, hand them over to my other partner who knows how to manage them. Like I talk about Airbnb now. I don't know when the last time I was in that unit because I'm not involved. Do you understand what I mean? There's someone else who's my business partner who runs the Airbnb business. I'm more focused on our tech business and growing the influence of it's more than just mine. Our property businesses, it's Asians and other people. I see a hand at the back. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have the mic? Okay, no. Yes, you can ask.
Good afternoon. I'm really honored to be in this three combo here in front of me. Borre Mogobe, Mr. Mdaka, and Ratshosa. I have three questions for, think for all of you. I'll start with Mr. Mogobe. I believe, Gerard, I know you are the brains behind the Mogobe Incorporations and everything else, and I want to know how do you keep the whole business sustainable in the sense that you have your employees, but at the same time it looks like you are more involved in the business. How do you get to get ideas from your employees and implement them for the sustainability of the whole incorporation? For Mr. Mdaka, I would say I've listened to your podcast, and I wanted to know from you coming from the SA, what business or property models do you think could work here in Botswana, and also you think are much sustainable than the others? We can talk about what we call the trains, or maybe 2 bays on Warawara, or B&Bs. But for the future, what do you think are the property models that you think could work? And to Mr. Ratshosa, my question is basically from where I come. I'm a construction engineer. We deal with two things, especially we deal with foundation designs and constructions. We also, Mr. Ndaba mentioned something that we also do, which is we are still working on an app that will be launching very soon that deals with property repairs. We also have a company that deals with property repairs. So to you, Mr. Ratshosa, what I want to find out is in terms of insurances, how all these people who are investing in property, how can they be, what insurance packages could they get into to make sure that those are the properties that they invest into, or whatever, the money that they put in actually help them, like it's sustainable and secured. I'm saying this from the background, foundations, because when it comes to buildings, the most important part, as much as the whole building is important, if you are going to mess up with your foundations, repairing those foundations is very, very, very costly. So in terms of insurances, how can we protect these people? Thank you.
I think the question, if I understood it correctly, is about my management style. It has evolved over the years. With the law firm, when we're running it at its peak, I think the key differentiator, as I mentioned in the book, was those Fridays when we used to just chill, get together, get sloshed as lawyers, and during the process of just drinking like that, and enjoying ourselves, we discussed cases, we exchanged ideas, and we did a great deal of team building during those evenings. We're still carrying on that to some degree, especially on the property side. The guys know that Fridays is the soup night, where we can go to have some soup, have a few drinks. Sometimes we come here and chill. So I think that helps to have a system by which you network with your team. Otherwise, my management style could be described as management by walking around, if you know what I mean, where you leave it to the individual managers, you empower them, but occasionally you walk around and check, because I'm a great believer of trust but verify, which is I believe it's a Russian proverb which says trust but verify. You give them, occasionally you want to verify whether they are at work and they are doing the right thing, but for the most part you give them, you stay hands off. So I'm not a manager myself directly, but I'm a manager of managers, and I let them manage themselves. And happy, you can add on to this. All I want from you guys is what? A weekly report. And
a weekly report, monthly one, and yearly one.
Blue Ocean strategy. A weekly report, a monthly report, and an annual report, and then in between interactions. That's how it works.
Thank you, Mr. Mogobe. So, there's nothing new under the sun, my brother. There isn't any special way of doing property, apart from borrowing from what's going on around the world for yourself. You know, and all depending on scale. And you see, property investing also boils down to, are you doing it just to generate income for yourself and for your family? Are you doing it to build a business? Are you doing it to become an international player? It all depends at the level at which you want to play. So when I say there's nothing new under the sun, I'm simply saying rent is rent everywhere in the world where you go. You know, a room is a room everywhere in the world you go. So if whether you're renting out rooms, whether you're renting out cottages, whether you're renting out 2-bedroom apartments, whether you are doing B&Bs, whether you're doing Airbnb, whether you are solving property-related problems using technology, it's all the same in every market, most markets in Africa. Of course, some markets are more volatile than others. Now, the biggest question is, do you just want to be the guy that's generating cash flow or the guy that's operating at a higher level? Understand? Property in and of itself, it's the same in America. The only thing that's different between America and here, it's the building technology, because they have to build with tornadoes in mind, with some fires in mind. We build brick and mortar. And then also, I'll give you another example. So you see, Botswana is a very small market. It's about 2 million people, right? So the difference between, let's say, me and you is that in Tembisa alone, where I grew up, it's 1.6 million people in the township where I grew up. So my township where I grew up, it's almost as big as your country. Do you understand what I mean? So when I'm developing something in Tembisa alone, it's almost equivalent as saving the entire population of Botswana. So for you, being in the population of Botswana is to say, have you done enough in Botswana to capture the market for you to be wealthy enough? If you haven't, right, then cross the border, my brother. Like, Botswana is almost the 10th province of South Africa. Have you ever heard with xenophobia, Botswana ubethilwe? It's rare, right? So, but you guys are foreigners in South Africa, are you not? So how come the guys that are xenophobic, my brother, you're a foreigner in South Africa, I'm a foreigner here too. Yeah. But all of us are Africans. I'm trying to show you something. You will hear that there was xenophobia, isn't it? Another person from another country has been beaten, whatever. But you'll never hear that about a Motswana. Because when a South African sees a Motswana person, they see a normal person who's from Rustenburg or something. They won't even ask you where you're from. The minute you talk, it's like, it's a Tswana person. So it's a matter of, if you've done enough to capture Botswana as a market, go down. There's a lot of people, there's almost 5 million people who speak Setswana. There are more Botswana in South Africa than in Botswana. Yes. Do you get my point? Yes. Like, let's open up our thinking into international thinkers. Right? I was telling my team, Hore, South Africa is too small for me, personally. I can't even go on vacation in South Africa. It's boring, man. I can't go to Cape Town. That's boring. I can't go to Durban. I've been to those places so many times just by doing seminars. So when I go to Cape Town, I feel like it's another seminar. So meaning now I have to start thinking, how do we go into different parts of Africa, because these people look like me, and do business? How do we get EdProp here? How do we get it in Kenya, Nigeria? That's the next level. Once we capture South Africa, we're thinking Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, Botswana is home, honestly, obviously. Namibia, Lesotho is always also home. You can go to Lesotho. When you talk, it's normal. So it's about taking advantage of what you already have. In terms of new property, let me tell you, Mr. Mogobe, you'll attest to this. Property is the most boring business you can do. Boring, because the only way you have to do it differently is to generate a lot of money and build sophisticated structures. Other than that, there's nothing special about building a house, man. It's just a house. You have got plans in place. you hire a team, you manage the project. The only difference is that it's different from building a building. The more the stories are, the more complicated it is, and so on and so forth. But once you're done, the principles are the same. But your growth as a person and how far you want to go, and also your ambition. This speaks to ambition. I always say, for some reason, I imagine Botswana to be the next Dubai. I imagine it to be the next Dubai. You guys have got the diamonds. You've got the benefit of a stronger currency in Africa. You've also got the benefit of a small population, big land mass. Meaning, as a developer, the thinking should be, how can I do things that have never been done before in Botswana? Pela, if you do something, even some things that are in South Africa, you bring them to Botswana, it's the first time they come here. Not in a bad way, but think about it. Think about what can we borrow from other markets, bring it into our market. So I'm a first mover. You see, like Mr. Mogobe, in many things, he can be a first mover. Because there are many things he's got capacity to do. Maybe do it as a legacy project, Mr. Mogobe. Saying, how do you develop a new city in Botswana? I'm challenging you, right? When AdProp becomes a multi-billion pula company, which it will, right? I'll invest. If you've got a city in the next 20 to 30 years, and you say you want to make this city into one of the new smart cities in Botswana, where the southern, you see, here's how Botswana is. It's in the center, right? You've got Zimbabwe, you've got South Africa, you've got Swaziland, you've got Mozambique, you've got Zambia, so you've got Namibia. So you're in the center. So everybody that wants to meet anybody in the southern part of Africa, where should they be meeting these people? Botswana. So that's the thinking where we all need to be thinking. How do we make this country one of the best? Let's quit this thing of saying we'll make money, go to Dubai. No, we must make money and come to Botswana. This is where we must be.
Thank you.
Question. You were asking about how to manage the risk of being in a construction business, right? No? Huh?
My question was for all the people who are going to the property space, how do they make sure that they protect their investment in terms of insurances, put in simple terms? How can they insure their properties?
Oh, okay. So normally...
I'm saying this... I'm saying this because normally what happens in Botswana is most of developers, we engage our neighbors. We believe that the council normally does the inspections for us. But when you look at it, you'll see what I've seen. In fact, what we have record of is that most properties or buildings here in Botswana are cracking. And one of those reasons of buildings cracking is because of the foundation designs or construction. So what I'm saying is, okay, you have invested that much of money doing that property or putting it in property, but then how can you insure that property to make sure that if, for example, those cracks come about, you can have you have some backup, or you have that you can maybe try to rectify it from maybe claiming from the insurances or somehow.
You are speaking as a developer, for the developers. Okay, so when I say risk management, normally insurance falls under risk management. It's just part of one of the ways of managing risk, right? The best cover to have as a developer, or we can call them professionals, right? Because you have electricians, you have your structural engineer, you have your what else is there? Your mechanical engineer, right? So these are professionals. So you can't be in the business of construction if you don't have what we call professional indemnity, PI, right? It protects professionals. Even us as financial advisors, we have professional indemnity because if one of my advisors goes out there and gives junk advice and then it costs someone their wealth, they claim against that professional indemnity, right? So the same applies in the construction business. Should one of your contractors do something wrong with the structure, and it can get so bad that people can die. And I don't think you would have saved enough money to cover, the risk of being sued for someone's death. Yeah, so professional indemnity really covers against that. So I would advise if you are in any field of engineering, finance, where you are called a professional, just get a PI and get a proper PI. A lot of people go, they get a code for a PI. It's quite expensive. They get a code for a PI and they get a PI for 500,000. In certain fields, 500,000 doesn't even cut it because the first claim that will come in will be like 3-5 million. So 500,000 is not enough. Just get a proper one. So